1970, we sure we did live for fruit. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did do the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Work hard and we shine, commitment, dedication. Neurosurgery, comedy, music, Nollywood. SOTK, Dr. Call, MC Casino. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN. Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of the UNIBEN Alumni Series. This is a program where we celebrate alumni of the University of Benin. We keep tabs on their activities and we bring it to you. And on today's episode, we have a comrade with us, a man who, as a student, he was at the vanguard of student struggle and mediating between students and management on bringing the basic amenities for students and agitating for the rights of students. Today is a lecturer in the Faculty of Science Laboratory Technology, a new faculty in the University of Benin, and he is engineer David Salami. He's still a comrade, I believe he's here. So,
of course.
David Salami. Thank you so much, brother, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I've been wanting to ask, but I think this is a good platform for me to ask. How is the transition like for you as someone who has always agitated for students' rights and basic things for students? A comrade, now you are a lecturer, you are more like part of the management of these students now. They now bring agitations to you. How has the table turned around for you? Now you are now on the other side of the table. So how's this transition like?
Well, thank you so much once again for bringing me up on the show. Well, it's all about individual perception and personality. For me, nothing has changed. The freedom fighter, Salami David, is still the freedom fighter. The only thing we can do is to always apply caution, in the sense that, now we are in the academic environment and we have our bosses on, part of the vice chancellor, the dean, or the HOD, as the case may be. So all we can do is to propose such solutions that actually works for us while we're actively involved in student activism. Say, for instance, in my faculty, we had issue with our faculty president, and immediately the faculty board said, Salami is the union leader, he should go and address the matter. And by God's will, with the experience I gathered from NANS and the SUG, I was able to provide solution. We've been working seamlessly without any issue. So there's no really issue transitioning because it's already part of me. And if you understand the rules guiding an institution, you must also abide by those rules. But however, you must speak truth to power when necessary.
Okay, you just made mention of the role you now play in between the students and the management, especially when there are issues to be resolved, like a mediator. Is that some role you enjoy doing currently?
Like I said, it is part of it. There is nowhere I'll find myself as a comrade or as a leader that crisis management won't be part of the core value. I enjoy it so well. As a matter of fact, in my faculty, they always call me the student man. Because I told them we live for the students. All lecturers of University of Benin or any institution, they are actually here or employed specifically because of students. So we must make sure we manage students like our own children. You know, I tell some persons, don't be because you were badly treated by lecturers, so you
Mm.
want to now transfer such treatment to other students. No, it doesn't work that way, actually. About the fact that we have our individual perceptions, individual area of organization, crisis management has always been a part of me and it will never die because it is our core value as comrades and we must uphold that tenet of our NANS constitution. So I think I enjoy doing it so well.
I so much commend the position you have taken, based on as a former student leader and a comrade. You are still using your experience for the benefit of the students, and you made mention of the importance, the significance of students in the community. And if the students are not there, the vice chancellor would not have a job if the students are not.
Absolutely.
So, and this leads me to my next question. There are some things you fought for as a student: victimization, provision of basic amenities for students, and all that. Especially the part of victimization and the student-lecturers relationship, which at a particular point in Nigeria educational system, especially maybe towards the end of our own time in school, it was not really a very cordial relationship. You and as a comrade, you're in the vanguard of all these. Today, what are you doing to ensure that you have a better relationship with your students and your colleagues as well? What are the steps that management are putting in place to have a better relationship with their students, not taking the fact away that students will also need to have boundaries and respect their lecturers? But for you lecturers, what are those steps to encourage students to speak up, to encourage students to have confidence in relating their issues to their lecturers?
All right. Thank you so much for that question. Like I said earlier, student-lecturer relationship to me is a must. It's a must in the sense that if we must build the next generation of leaders, we must ensure that these students have absolute confidence in talking with us. Now, I'll use myself as a case study and a lot of my colleagues in the Faculty of Life Sciences and Engineering that I'm very, very close and familiar with. Now, students have various channels of ventilating whatever issues that are happening. Of course, you are once a student here. We have staff advisors of various associations, whether faculty association, departmental, down to the SUG level, they have that chain of students and all that. So it's imperative to state that most of these student leaders use those channels to communicate whatever issues they have. Then, as a lecturer, I should have that listening ear to hear their issues with a view of profiling solution. I will tell our colleagues, if you cannot provide solution to problem of students, don't compound those problems. Don't make those problems complicated for them. Then, for example, a student comes to you and tells you, oh, sir, I had F in your course. We have human error. We are not, our brains are not computer, right? So, as a lecturer, just a student, okay, drop your details. I will check.
Yeah.
So eventually cross-check. I discovered that the fault is yours. Immediately, thank God we have room for amendments. You make the amendment results and you forward to the faculty board or departmental board to approve. Not a student, please get out of my office, get out of my office. I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. Such a student will always get frustrated. I want to take the other routes, you know, that might lead to nowhere and all that. So then, secondly, as well, I always emphasize the fact that students should also respect their teachers because we call ourselves teachers because we are impacting knowledge as it were. Whereby you see a student walk into your office, not greeting you, very arrogant or badly dressed, because in University of Benin we prioritize dress code and we don't entertain bushy hair and all of that. You know, you correct them, you correct those students with love. You correct them with love, and you will get better results. But in an event that those students prove stubborn, there are also channels to deal with those students seamlessly than engaging in physical fights with students. So I think a student-lecturer relationship should be prioritized in Nigerian institutions, just the way we are having it here in University of Benin. Lastly, school just went down after our first semester examination. Of course, as usual, students will be asked to vacate the halls of residence. Of course, the dean of students, who is the custodian of that office, will release memo. There
Yeah.
is nothing you do that students will see right in their eyes. There is nothing you do. Even when you give the 1 month vacation notice, some person will still stay in the hostel and leave. I stayed in Otiri, remember, I was in Otiri. Myself and Ivan Oguchi and the rest of them were plugged in room 201 and of course room 203 when I had speaker and Ajim Ogwesin Tech, and of course when Omoro Goremo 2018 was the SOG president, we were all there. So when there's a vision notice after example, which is customary, you leave. But most of them, for really best not to them, they will tend to stay in the hostel. Some will hide and lock up their doors. But now it's a different ballgame because we are more matured, we are more civilized, we are more exposed. As I
Mm.
speak to you now, the hostel is home and dry. No single soul in the hostel, apart from those financial students that has reasons to be on campus by
Mm.
virtue of their projects. By
Yeah.
virtue of that project, those who are doing culture and all of that medium in different laboratories to avoid their ranks getting bad or dying and all of that, so they have to stay on campus. They didn't say, oh, meet your HOD or your dean to do a letter with your names. I will
Mm.
call the vice chancellor and he will approve. So in our time, those channels were not that operational, but we always use our normal
Mm.
relationship to make these things happen. So I think in a way we've done so much in that aspect, and I believe the students of the Benin should always applaud and appreciate their lecturers. Thank you.
Okay. You mentioned the role of the dean of students while you were responding to that question. Today, the current dean of students is a man you know so well, who is from the faculty you graduated from, life sciences, Professor Frederick Kaise. What's the relationship with you as a former comrade who knows a lot of how these students behave, and are you on his speed dial when it comes to handling of issues within the campus? Does he reach out to people like you, not just you, but people like you who have been student leaders and are currently lecturers in the university? Do you have that kind of arrangement with the dean of students to manage issues? Because I believe a collaboration will really help in such situation.
All right, let me start by saying that the current dean of students, Professor Frederick Osaro Kaise, was my teacher. He taught me in 300 level, and till tomorrow I call him father, but he always tell me, no, you're my colleague. I say, no, sir, you're my father. Now, without mixing words, Professor Frederick F.O. Ekaise is the first dean of students that will call comrades to any meeting, any decision-making meeting with PUs, with porters. I was surprised when he was appointed as dean of students. Not only myself, the likes of Comrade Aruna Kadiri, the likes of Comrade Bello, Martin, the likes of our leader, Comrade Oku Sylvester. The dean of students personally sent a message to say, comrade, good morning or good afternoon as it may be. I just received my appointment letter as the dean of students. Please, I need your support to succeed in this office. I'm not sure I've gotten such a message since my active days in unionism. Moving from that, every meeting the dean scheduled to have with any of his staff, he will ensure that NANS are ably represented. At least I've attended three of such meetings with the likes of Sylvester Oko and Dr. Bello Martins. So he has carried us along. But however, there is no a man cannot be 100% efficient. So the same way you and I we have flaws, he has his own flaws as well as a leader. So what our rules is to let him know, oh sir, that decision, I don't think it will go well. Let us do like this, do like that. That is our rule. To suggest to him.
Mm.
And by the grace of God, that has been working effortlessly. The student union government elections, you always consult us. You always consult us to say, oh, the election is very, very close. How do we come to round table? I will discuss things which we've never had it before. Of course, you are aware we have friends who have been deans of students, but this active involvement, participation in decision making has never been there. It is just on individual relationship
Yeah.
and all that. So I think the Dean of Students has done so well, but and again, I know he will do better and also improve in his tenure.
Yeah, that's quite encouraging to hear. I want to talk something quite general about students and young adults who are in tertiary institutions. There's this narrative going around that students currently do not read, that generally Nigerian students, young adults, do not read. While some have contradictory positions that they do read, it might not be they do read from their phones, from their tablet, they do read on Instablog, they do read trends on Twitter and all. You as a lecturer and you do interact with these students, what position do you hold when it comes to such conversation? Because you mark their script. Do you think they're actually reading or they're actually getting themselves involved in things that are beneficial, in subjects, in discussions, in conversations that could be beneficial to their life? Or do you think we're experiencing a quite decline in students or young adults reading things that are not really beneficial to them and to the nation?
Well, thank you so much, my brother. Sincerely, because it's a statement of facts. There's a total decline in student active participation to their studies. Total decline. Why? Because of the quest for money, the quest to get rich on time. You see a student, he or she won't attend class, but exam day, you see the hall packed full. You as the lecturer, you'll be asking questions. You don't have my CA. You don't even have attendance because naturally the rule in university says 75% attendance before exam. But
Yeah.
these days, of course, due to urbanization, we try to relax some of these rules so that we will not endanger the society because if you don't graduate these students, they become a menace to the society. So hence we will have to just manage them. Most of them don't read. If you go to John Harris Library and the MTN library that you met before you left the system, before now, you see the library packed full. Students
Mm.
are applying for the library card. But right
Yeah.
now, even it is no longer there. Only a handful of students do this thing now. Each faculty has faculty library. But if you go there, all the books that the HOD, the deans, and the VC spends money to purchase for the students to read from the library, they are always there, filled with dust. The librarian will keep cleaning and cleaning and cleaning because students has lost that active participation in reading or that culture of reading as it were. So it's really affecting the society. But
Yeah.
however, we still have serious students,
Mm.
students who are determined. We still have go-getters among these students. Hence, you see a student living with first class, 4.9 something, 4.8 something, because right from when they left their parents, they made a decision to
Mm.
return with good results. So, I don't know,
Uh,
we
My
are doing
point
our best.
Yes, I quite agree with your submission, and unfortunately, the value system in our society affects things like this. Because when you go around and you hear school na scam, yeah, then also there's hardly reward system for brilliance or exceptional
That
students.
that's right.
When they graduate from the university, they hardly it's difficult to get a job. So I think the system, the Nigerian system, do not also encourage these students to prioritize their books. Yes, so that is why the government at all levels, the public office holders should ensure that there's job available for students. There are programs for students who have done well. And for our university, we commend the university and donors that award best students, distinguished students in different fields. We need more of that. We need more of that encouragement. Even current students, we need more scholarship to be awarded to them. Hopefully, that can encourage students to continue to prioritize their books. That's just on one side. And then going forward, the
Can I add to your last statement
go
of
ahead, go
scholarship?
ahead, please.
Now, as a person, we all, I as Salami David, I knew how I went to University of Benin without a father. God using my uncle and my mom, they saw me through school and all of that. So what I have been able to do, like in the faculty of science lab technology, when we discover towards the exam period, most some students haven't paid their school fees. We reach out to their course advisor to find out why. Most of them might not really have this money to pay based on
Yeah,
their parental background. So I think few occasions we've been able to mobilize money from the faculty. We just call few lecturer that has like minds, right? We pay school fee for these students because especially when we know that these students they are determined and dedicated students. We've
mhm,
done that. Now with our platform as well, based on relationship with our friends, both in the diaspora and in Nigeria, we've reached out to most of them as well as a way of also supporting indigent students. Take for instance, for science and technology, for all our induction ceremony, we always give at least one or two students scholarship. And all of these scholarships are being mobilized by alumni of the great Faculty of Science, Laboratory Technology. So I will continue to do that. So I want to use your
thank
platform to also appeal
you so
to all our friends, comrades, who God has blessed, listening to us, to also reach out. We are the system. We are the custodian of what they left behind in Nigeria in the University of Benin, that they should reach out to them. We see our students who don't have hope of paying their school fees. For this semester, the VC was gracious enough to say, oh, for those students that are not to let them write their exams, with the hope that by next semester, second semester, they will pay. So reach out to Comr on his platform or my humble self or anybody you know in your faculty to support a student.
much.
Operation support one student to pay school fees. Thank you.
Yes, I join my voice with yours, Comrade Salami. I think that will go a long way to help this.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Um, you backed your Bachelor of Science degree in Science Laboratory Technology when it was still a department under Life Sciences. But further down the line, in your pursuit of educational advanced educational qualification, you switch to engineering. You have masters in engineering, if I'm correct. I think you did a post DE first, then you did a masters in engineering. Yes, I understand that there is similarity between both faculties, but for you, why the switch? What did you see in the engineering faculty or in the course that made you felt, oh, you think you'll be better off here?
All right. Thank you so much. Growing up, I've always wanted to be an engineer, a petroleum engineer. Although my parents wanted me to be a medical doctor, but personally, I can't stand blood. I have this human nature in me that once I see blood, I get worried. I get, hyperactive, as they call it. So when I wrote down 3 times, I wasn't getting engineering. The last I tried was, I think, University of Abuja. I had 88 in that pursuit TME, but unfortunately, I was denied admission. Somebody said, "Oh, because you don't know anybody." So SAT came to me as a golden opportunity to pursue my academic journey.
Mm.
I keyed into it in 2009, 2010 academic section, graduated 14, 15, of course, with the 6 years program
Yeah.
in University of Benin. In SLT is a multifaceted discipline. We have about 7 options. We have geology, we have microbiology techniques, we have physiology pharmacology techniques, we have physics electronics techniques, then we have chemical petroleum techniques, which I happen my set happen to be the first set of this particular technique. So when we graduated, of course, we can't just go and do direct masters in engineering.
Yeah.
So based on my desire to become an engineer, so I
Mm.
did a postgraduate diploma in petroleum engineering. I didn't stop there. I went further to pursue my master in petroleum engineering, we call MENS. I'm currently almost rounding off my PhD in
Mm.
petroleum engineering with specialization in reservoir engineering. So all of these things it has been my passion. So hence you see the route I've taken.
Mm.
Not
To get
everybody will have that
yeah.
patience to take this route. Not
Yeah.
everyone. Considering the society we find ourselves, but
Yeah.
the dedication, determination, and passion has been the focal point for me, and it has kept me going to tomorrow. By the grace
Okay.
of God, my goal is to get to the energy sector, that's the petroleum industry, and by God's grace, I will get there. It's just a matter of time.
You're already on that path. Let's talk about your
Yeah.
time as a UNIBEN student. The great Salami of life sciences. What motivated you to go into student politics, into unionism? You spent quite a number of years. You were a strong figure, a significant figure when it comes to student politics in school then. What motivated you to go into student politics?
One of my greatest motivation was the societal background where I came from, and passion, like I mentioned earlier. When I got admission into University of Benin in 100 level, it might interest you that I started my politics or political career in 100 level. When we asked to nominate class rep, my classmates that will watch this later will recall
Mm.
myself, Okoli, Henry, and Francis Andrew that will call Anderson. You know him very well.
Yeah, I
We're
do.
all top contender for that position. And somehow, I had to align with Anderson, but unfortunately, we lost that election to our good friend Okoli Henry. I didn't stop at that because I am one person, you know me very well. I hate oppression. No matter how highly placed you are, don't oppress anybody. Because I've always believed naked we came, naked we will return to our maker. So humility has been a focal point for me. Humility has kept me going as a comrade because there is nothing in this life. So in 200 level, I contested as a life science financial secretary in 2011.
Mm.
That election, we were even campaigning in the street of Ekoso, the Edo streets. So I was extremely a top contender. I was contesting against an incumbent PRO of the faculty, an incumbent PRO, and that was how I lost that election with just 13 votes. I didn't discourage myself. I told myself, oh, if you can lose election with just 13 votes, meaning you have greater potential, keep pushing. So that very year, 2012, one of our leader, Honorable Austin Iguma, lost his speakership bid. Then there these part-time, full-time issues in life science, which we are fully aware of. So
Yeah.
to late Right Honorable Egusa, who is late now, so he told them in the parliament that Egusa was his boy, that he cannot serve in the same parliament with Egusa, and he recommended that Salami be nominated as a worthy replacement. That was where God started glorifying himself. I started as a parliamentarian. Life Science Parliament became one of the most active parliaments in the University of Benin. So from there, by the grace of God, I came back to my department. I was elected as the president of Science Lab for students, who called NAST. Called NAST. From there, as a part-time student, a proud part-time student to say, having achieved all of these little political feats, I said, oh, let me test the waters. I contested for speakership of the faculty. There were great issues. Of course, I saw betrayal firsthand. A lot of my friends that were with me for the full-time blog said no, we can't almost a part-time student, but God had his way. I emerged as the speaker of the Faculty of Life Sciences. From there, we started building our blogs around the SUG elections. And so passion has always been my focal point, right? It has always pushed me because I hate oppression. Once I see a student being intimidated or being oppressed, I will speak out. I don't care who you are. If you are my friend, I will stand against that oppression and support other students. So for us, we are into politics to change the narrative. We are into politics to send signal to some of the bad elements that no, we still have good men, we still have good people. Because when good people keep quiet, evil will continue to thrive in our society.
Yes, let me quickly come in here. Thankfully, you just talked about politics. I want to go a bit higher, secular politics. Are we going to see a David Salami vying for the Akoko Edo Federal constituency in the House of
Very, very possible, my brother. Of course, as I speak to you, my village, Ikinoke, in Akoko Edo, Ward 4, we are under Ward 4. They've called to say, oh, our son, come and contest. But I told them, I have not heard from God. Politics, it has its own dynamics. You have to also ensure that you are with the right godfathers. I always tell people while in UNIBEN, you cannot overemphasize the role of godfather in politics. We call them mentors. So when the time comes, you will surely see a David Salami for House of Reps, for House of Assembly, or every local government chairman. But however, I think I prefer juicy appointments.
Juicy appointment.
Yes, you look at some appointments that you can make indelible impact in the society.
Yes, I quite agree. Lastly, for those that are quite frequent or who follow my show, I usually ask this question about what UNIBEN taught you, what you learned from the institution. You spent 6 years obtaining a bachelor's degree. You spent another 1 year, more than 2 years to get your PGD and your master's degree in engineering, petroleum engineering. You have been in the system for quite some time now. What has the institution given to you? What have outside the certifications that you have gotten? What have you learned from UNIBEN?
All right. One thing, as a matter of fact, there is no Salami David without University of Benin. I make bold to say this. truthfully, University of Benin taught me boldness. University of Benin taught me steadfastness. And it was the University of Benin I learned how to build quality relationship with people, with friends. And those relationships, till tomorrow, till forever, they remain my strength. They remain like I lack words to actually express how I feel about what University of Benin taught me. Most people will tell you, you pass through the school will not pass through you. My own, the school passed through me, I also passed through the school. I learned a whole lot, Mr. Kaka, in University of Benin. And by God's grace, it has shaped my life.
Yeah,
It has made me a better person. And by God's grace, I intend to also come back one someday and give back to University of Benin. The ones
yeah,
we are doing at our faculty
you're evidence
level,
that. Yeah,
of course, but not on the larger scale. I'm talking
yeah,
about the larger scale, right? Where I could contact 10 of my friends, oh, let us build a multi-million naira lecture theater, let us equip laboratories to enhance research, and all of that. So that will be done, of course, as time progresses. God keep us alive. That will be
thank
done. So UNIBEN has really taught me a lot, and I appreciate University of Benin. Great UNIBEN.
greatest. It has been wonderful speaking with you, Comrade
Thank you
David.
so much.
Yeah, I enjoyed this discussion. Thank you very much. I've been speaking with Comrade Engineer David Salami, an academic staff of the University of Benin, former student leader of the institution as well. I'm Kevin Omokaro. I'm your host of the show. Continue to subscribe to our channel. We're bringing more exclusive interviews of UNIBEN alumni. Bye.